Howdy everybody, I'm Gordon Lee and welcome back to the channel. As you've noticed, I'm not in my usual setup right now. I'm actually at my parents' house for the next few days, so I'm going to be doing some recording here. Today I'm talking about the box office returns from this weekend. They just came out a few hours ago, so I wanted to keep things a little laid back today, go over some of my conclusions from that. So at number one, we have Beetlejuice Beetlejuice in its second weekend, grossing $51 million and only dropping 53.5% weekend over weekend. That's on the lower end of where studios usually want to see their movies drop off after the first weekend. Usually if you're in between 50 to 60%, you're doing fine. So 53.5 is great. That movie has made so much more money than I think it deserves. Not to sound like a hater, if you enjoy Beetlejuice, that's great. I envy you. I personally didn't really love it. It was like a 4 out of 10 for me. There were redeeming qualities to it. I do like Catherine O'Hara, Michael Keaton, the production design. That, unique flair to Tim Burton works for me most of the time. But the movie as a whole, I just didn't love. But it has made $264 million worldwide. And it only cost $100 million to make. So whenever you put in the marketing budget, which they had a big marketing rollout, and the theater cut, I would imagine this movie probably needed to make around $175, $200 to be profitable. So I would say at this point, they're very comfortably in the green, which if you're a fan of this franchise should make you very happy. Tim Burton was asked if he would do a third movie, and it looked like from his quote that it just took so long to make the second film that he doesn't really think that they're gonna do it. He doesn't want to do it whenever he's 100. However, with the returns that this has made, it wouldn't shock me if they start loading up the Brinks truck for Tim Burton saying, hey, you want to come back for a third one? We can bring back Jenny Ortega. We can bring back Winona Ryder for another go at it. And of course, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. To me, this is another case of a movie that's beloved from decades ago, coming in and the audience responding. The older generation that was teenagers whenever the original movie came out, they have a bunch of kids now, and now they're going out to see it with their parents. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here. And the reception to it is overwhelmingly positive. I'm definitely in the vast minority of people that didn't love the movie. It has an 83% among the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, so I guess I'm among the 17%. Whatever, to each their own. Again, I envy those that enjoy the movie. It's made a ton of money. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw a third movie, or maybe if Tim Burton wants to go back and redo or make a sequel to another one of his classics, like Edward Scissorhands, perhaps. I wouldn't be very surprised. This successful critical and financial hit should do him a lot of favors here in the near future. Next up at number two, we have the new movie Speak No Evil, racking in $11.5 million domestically and a little bit over $20 million worldwide in its opening weekend. This is a remake of a foreign film that was made a couple of years ago, stars James McAvoy. It's been getting great reviews. I think it has like a 95% Rotten Tomatoes, 92, somewhere around there. I haven't had a chance to go see it. I really want to. I'm going to get to it early this week. But it looks like the favorable reviews have really helped it with its gross so far, because I believe the movie cost between $15 to $20 million to actually produce. It's made over $20 million at this point. We obviously need to factor in marketing, theaters. It probably needs to make like $45 million. I'm not too sure there. With some of these lower budget movies and the marketing, I feel like it kind of muddies the waters, because usually my math is the marketing budget is about half of the production. But whenever a movie costs $20 million, but I see it all over TV on, bus ads, I see it everywhere, then my question is, does the marketing budget end up being higher than the actual production budget? I'm not too sure. Let's say it needs to make $50 million. It's made almost $21 million worldwide in its opening weekend. It has good reviews. I would expect more people to flock to the theaters to get to go see it. Even, people like me that want to go see the movie, but they haven't had the chance to so far. We're definitely going to be going. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie leaps over its profitable mark here in the next week and a half or so. Of course, we have Deadpool and Wolverine at number 3. This movie came out in late July, and it's still bringing in $5 million domestically in a weekend. It's well over $1 billion now. Huge success. There's not really a whole lot I have to say about that other than Hugh Jackman's going to be doing it until he's 90. And then we have the new Daily Wire movie. movie Am I Racist out. It's Matt Walsh's, I guess, comedy. Obviously very controversial given the studio that made it, but it did make almost $5 million. I looked it up. Its budget was $3 million. The marketing on this, I mean, it probably needs to make like, I don't know, $7 or $8 million. I'm just kind of spitballing there. I mean, I feel like I don't know what to say about this movie. I'm not really interested in going to see it personally. If you are, that's great for you. It ended up doing actually pretty well, I felt, with the box office. It was only in about 1,500 theaters. A solid almost $5 million domestically and worldwide in its opening weekend, so it's done well. I don't really know what else to say. But then we have The Killer's Game, which I reviewed on this channel a couple of days ago, the new Dave Bautista action movie with Sofia Boutella there in a supporting role. I didn't like the movie. You can watch my review if you want to know my more thorough thoughts on it. I didn't think it was going to make a lot of money. It wasn't really well received by critics. And yeah, it only made $2.5 million domestically in its opening weekend. And I'm not seeing an international figure whenever I look at Box Office Mojo. And it costs $30 million to produce. With marketing, it probably needs to make around $75 million, 75, somewhere around there. Yeah, this movie is a massive flop. It's really disappointing whenever you see an action movie like that with a lead that you want to see be successful. Again, I've said this in my review, I'm a big Bautista fan. I think that he's grown a lot as an actor. I would love to see him break out as a lead, but just this script was not it. The movie is just simply not very good. I personally didn't think he was great in it, and it doesn't look like audiences were rushing to the theaters to go see it. This is one of those movies that I wouldn't be surprised we see a massive drop-off in the amount of theaters actually playing it weekend over weekend. Yeah, big loss there, which is really disappointing. I want to see Bautista be successful, but you just gotta pick your projects a little bit better, man. I say it out of love. Bautista, if you're watching this, please pick better projects that you are leading. But then other than that, we have a bunch of holdovers from the summer, rounding out the top 10 with Alien Romulus. It ends with us. Twisters was at number 11. So overall, it was a pretty calm weekend. The biggest takeaway that I have is just Beetlejuice doing so well in its second weekend. September tends to be a little bit of a lull point with the box office. You know, it's right after summer. It's right before the holidays where we're going to see a huge rush with people going to the theaters. So it's great that a movie like Beetlejuice can make so much money to keep the theater lights on, keep them selling popcorn, you know, whatever we got to do to keep the theaters open, because I know 2024 was going to be really hard. A lot of movies have really surprised the industry with their overperformance, but really a lot of theaters, whenever they were looking at 2024, it was just going to be, okay, we got to survive to 2025, because 2025 is an absolute murderer's row of movies that are going to gross a lot of money in the box office. I'm calling it right now. 2025 is going to be a huge year. I'm glad to see movies like Beetlejuice, even though I didn't personally like the movie all that much. I'm glad to see that it is performing well and that it's able to produce a lot of business for the theaters. But those are my thoughts on the box office returns this weekend. Have you had an opportunity to go to the theaters to check out any of these movies? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this and you want to see more, subscribe now. Bye, guys.